Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the beginning of a brand new era. This is a new era for a couple of reasons. First of all, this is going to be the first video, I believe, on the second channel, so welcome to the second channel. And second of all, I'm in a new place, as you guys can see. Things have been, well, hectic, and basically what ended up happening was I moved out of my house, so I'm here on my own. In a new place. Super excited to be here. And so yeah, this is going to be the new background for the foreseeable future. Maybe I'll touch it up a little bit or put up a green screen or something, but this is roughly what it's going to look like anyway. And yeah, we're just going to do the normal thing here. We're going to play LDQL. This is the first week of season 3, so I'm very glad to have this league back. And yeah, we're just going to get right into this. Starting with quiz number 1. So this is, again, kind of spin-off questions of previous ones that we've had. Anyway, so there's a question about Chris Evans. If you were curious, you might have learned that Evans' breakout role was this guy in this movie, a role he reprised in the music video for Marilyn Manson's cover of what song? Biggest hit for the band Soft Cell. Begins with the line, "Sometimes I feel I've got to run away." This is Tainted Love, quite a famous song. Question number 2. An article published in Nature in 2020 claimed to have produced a carbon-based material with what property at room temperature and extreme pressure? And then it gives an example of a material that has this property. I feel like I may have heard of this, but I'm not really getting anything from it. This is a guess, but I'm going to try superfluidity because that's just like a rare property of certain materials that I think maybe happens at extreme pressure. I don't think this is right, but it might be, and I don't really have anything better, so I'm going to go with that. In the week 3 quiz, Punk's Not Dead, you learned about various parts of the punk movement containing the word riot. In October 2016, the band Pussy Riot released a song titled For What Slogan? To fulfill this slogan, you must let other people in, listen to your women, and stop killing black children, all of which are probably departures from how this is used today. So I was stuck on this one for a little while, but I realized the date, October 2016, which makes sense for the election, and then I realized it's probably this because those sound like good things that are not things people using this slogan would generally care about. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Question 4. This one I have literally no idea. We had a weird encryption question that I had no idea in the last season, and we have another one. An encryption algorithm named for 3 cryptographers. I've never heard of this, so I don't think I have any chance, so I'm going to say Smith and Johnson and Jones and just move on with my life. Question 5. We learned about counterpoint. If you're curious, may have learned that the rules of counterpoint forbid the use of parallel octaves and examples of what interval between consecutive pairs of notes in different melodic lines. It's also the interval between the root note and the dominant note in a major scale. Now, I don't really know what an interval is, to be quite honest. I don't know anything about music theory, but this is, I think, like a 4th or a 5th or a 6th. I think those are like intervals, maybe. I'm just going to say 5th because I feel like that's something I've heard decently often in reference to music, but I don't even know if this is an interval, and it probably isn't the right one. And then question 6, we learned about Usain Bolt. The track events double in length, 100, 200, 400, 800, but then it stops. How many meters is the next longest track event? I believe it is 1,500 rather than 1,600. And if you add 100 meters, you get 1,600, which makes it very close to a mile, and I think 1,600 is pretty close to 5,280 feet, so I think that makes perfect sense. So 1,500 will be my answer here. This is one of the weakest quizzes of the week for me, I think. I have a few later that I think are going to go a little bit better, but this is fine. I think I have at least 3, possibly 4 or 5, but probably 3. So I'm going to go ahead and enhance number 3 because I think it's the only one here that A, I'm confident about, and B, is like decently hard to think of because I think 1 and 6 are a little bit easier. So I will enhance number 3 and submit. New setup, new channel, same captchas. I guess that's a bus. All right. Okay, Tainted Love, superconductivity. So fifth is actually correct. RSA, sure. Republic of South Africa, why not? Okay, well, it's 4. 4 is fine on that quiz. Superconductivity rather than superfluidity is kind of unfortunate, but I don't think I was going to pull that, so it's fine. And then everything else went fine. So good start. And we will head to quiz number 2, another general knowledge quiz. A dummy corporation is a fake company created for fraudulent purposes. Union Pacific set up Crédit Immobilier, a dummy corporation that defrauded investors who intended to fund the construction of what? Not sure, but Union Pacific I know is a railroad company, so I feel like the best thing to do is just guess railroad here. It could be like the Transcontinental Railroad or something. I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, if we're talking about Union Pacific, I feel like that's kind of what I have to say. Buridan's ass is a paradox where a hungry donkey is placed exactly between 2 bales of hay, then starves to death because it can't decide which one it prefers. But that's not realistic because most people would be able to make a choice. Some philosophers have argued that it shows we have what abstract 2-word capacity. I have no idea what's going on here. This is just going to be some 2-word phrase that I don't know, or maybe I do know, but I can't think of it. I'm just going to say, what was I going to say? Selective indifference, because, I mean, I made that up, but it just sounds like you're indifferent between 2 things, but you select one anyway, so selective indifference. Question 3, a woolly bugger is an item that is attached to a much longer implement. I don't know, I've never heard of this, but it sounds like it could be a fishing thing. A much longer implement could, of course, be like a fishing rod or fishing pole or whatever it's called. And I don't know what any of these words mean, to be quite honest, but it feels like a metal wire. It feels like it could be a fish thing, so fishing thing. So I'll go with that. Question 4. A hypnic jerk is a scientific term for an involuntary muscle spasm that interrupts what? I think it's just sleep, because hypnic sounds like hypnos, which is like the Greek word for sleep, or at least the Greek god of sleep. So I think surely this is just sleep. This is the question that has been bugging me the most because it feels like something I should know, but I have given up and decided I'm not going to get it. But there's a public sculpture of a chicken in southern England that was given a scarf with a circular decoration containing the letters XXX. I don't know what XXX could mean, like 30 maybe, but I don't know what that would be. Like, I don't know how old this sculpture is. It could be quite old. I think I'm literally just going to guess 1930 because maybe, I don't know, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's wrong, but I can't think of any other thing. I mean, it could be some royal family related thing. It could be, I have no idea, but like, I just can't think of what XXX would be, so I'm just going to say 1930. And then finally, what thematic possessive word appears in the common names for the following? I don't know what the first thing is, but the second one is fool's mate, and the third one is fool's gold. So this will be fools. As for what to enhance here, I'm really not sure, to be honest with you, because it feels like everything I have right is probably pretty easy. Like, I think railroad, sleep, fools, I think those are not that hard. Fishing, I'm not sure is correct. 2, I'm sure is wrong. 5 is almost certainly wrong as well. So it's between 1, 4, and 6. I just have to figure out what's the hardest one. I hope railroad is actually correct. But surely... Wait. Hold on a second. Let me read this again. A fake company created for fraudulent purposes. The railroad company set up the fake company that defrauded investors who intended to fund the construction of what? Am I reading this right? A dummy corporation that defrauded investors. Does defraud mean like... I don't know what defraud actually means. Does it mean like they... wow. Yeah, this is a vocabulary moment. I don't know if this means like it screwed them over, or if it means they like were committing fraud, but the fake company protected them from it. I actually don't. Okay, well, I'm no longer confident that that's right, but I still don't have another answer, so I'm gonna go with... Oh God, I think 4 and 6 are really easy, but I think I just have to go with one of them. All right, let's just go with 4, maybe, because this one has... I'm gonna go with 4. I think it's easy, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. We'll see if railroad's correct. It is railroad. Sleep and Fools is correct. 2012. Oh, Free Will. Okay, sure. That's a thing. I probably should have just guessed a phrase that I knew was actually a phrase that people use, but yeah, okay, that makes sense. Fishing was correct. That's nice. London Olympics, I can't believe I didn't think of that. I was thinking it could be like a Premier League thing, but for some reason the Olympics didn't occur to me, but it's the 30th Olympiad, presumably, so that makes all too much sense. So, again, 4 out of 6. I don't think I enhanced very well, but it could have been worse. Again, I think those are 2 of my weaker quizzes this week. Here is my other weaker quiz this week, the pop culture quiz, but it's not as bad as they usually are. So you're still here. It's over. Go home. Go. Let me check, make sure I'm recording and everything. Okay, good. Anyway, these words are spoken by Ferris Bueller at the end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, a movie I've seen more times than I wish I had seen. But that is definitely what happens at the end of that movie. On what show is a priest the only person able to notice any of the protagonists' 232 plus fourth wall breaks? I want to say, like, characters are unnamed and given disparaging nicknames. I want to say it's Fleabag. This is not a show I've seen, but I want to say Phoebe Waller-Bridge is the star of that show, I think. And Fleabag sounds like a disparaging nickname. I've just heard people talk about this show. I don't know much about it, but hopefully just enough. This, I have no idea. Yeah, the tombstone of an insectoid creature at the start of what 1994 game? I mean, it sounds like a fly thing. I mean, buzz, and swatted to death. So it should be a fly. And the international title is a compound word. So I feel like I just have to guess like something fly, like horsefly, housefly. What other kinds of flies are there? I'm just going to go with horsefly. I don't know. I probably never heard of this thing anyway. This one, I don't think I would have gotten if not for this clue here. Because in the song Chandelier by Sia, she says, "I'm going to fly like a bird through the night," which tells me that this is probably a chandelier. I don't know anything about the Phantom of the Opera, but shout out the question writer. I think, is it Looney? I don't know who's writing. It's probably, there's a musical question, so it's probably Looney. Yeah, yeah. So shout out Looney for providing that clue. Thank you very much. So that should be the answer. Anyway, in a possibly fictional story about film history, a screening of a film by the Lumiere brothers caused people to panic and riot because they thought what object was coming out of the screen at them. Should be a train, I think. It's like a famous like story that there was like a train coming right at the camera and people thought the train was going to like, come through the screen. And then first line of what musical's opening number, the whole being dead thing, was changed to "Hey folks, ain't it pretty, look who's back in New York City." I have no idea. This feels like something I probably won't have heard of, but if I have, I'm going to be kind of sad. But I mean, a grating, scratchy voice, Michael Keaton. I know he played Batman at some point. I don't know anything else that he played. It's probably not Batman, because I don't know of a Batman musical, but maybe there's a Batman musical. And if it is, I hope it's called Batman, because otherwise, no chance. But yeah, I feel decent about most of these. I think Train is pretty easy. I want to say Chandelier is probably fairly known as well. I don't know whether 1 or 2 is a better idea to enhance. Like, how well known is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, especially outside of the U.S.? I wonder. Or Fleabag. Ah, man. I might actually enhance Ferris Bueller, because it feels, I mean, it's an old enough movie that some people these days might not be aware of it, and also outside of the US, maybe it's less well known. I'm not sure. I'll submit that, and we'll see if that was the right thing for me to do. Ferris Bueller, Beetlejuice. Okay. So Train is correct. Chandelier, Fleabag, Ferris Bueller, Earthbound. I don't know what that is. It doesn't have fly in it after all, so I was never getting that. Okay, sure. Again, 4 out of 6 for the 3rd time in a row, but again, for the pop culture quiz, for me, 4 out of 6 is honestly totally fine. So yeah, no problem. Yeah, Batman, Beetlejuice, yeah, okay. I've never seen Beetlejuice, but it's a famous movie, so, you know. I also didn't know it was a musical. Okay, these next 4 quizzes are hopefully a little better for me, but we will see. The first Google Doodle ever, published on August 30th, 1998, to indicate that the founders of Google would be out of the office to celebrate what festival? This is, I think, the one I'm least confident about on this quiz. I'm not sure. My thought was Burning Man, but I don't know how old Burning Man is. Like, I don't know if it's been around since 1998, but there's a man in the middle of the thing, and I don't know what other festival. I mean, we're probably in California or nearby, so, you know, Burning Man makes sense. It could be like Coachella or something, but like, I don't know what this photo would be. Not photo, you know what I mean, the dude. Like, I don't know what the dude is. I'm probably being dumb, and it's like, maybe it's like a film festival or something else, but I'm just going to say Burning Man. Anyway, I do think this is wrong, but I think the rest of these I hopefully have a better chance with. This doodle commemorates the birthday of what artist? This is Mary Cassatt, which I think is pretty hard, but this is just a famous Impressionist painter who painted the... I don't remember what this painting is called. Bathing Girl or something. I don't remember, unfortunately, but it's definitely Mary Cassatt. Question 3, 20-year anniversary of what geopolitical event? I mean, we clearly have Germany, like a German flag colors, and then we have shaking hands. So, like, what happened in Germany in 1990? I think it's probably just the reunification, which also is like the fall of the Berlin Wall, which might be the same thing. Like, but I think those are like the same, so I feel like either answer is maybe fine, or maybe the fall of the wall was in 1989, but the official reunification was in 1990. The shaking hands makes me want to say reunification, so that's what I'm going to go with. 65th birthday of what singer, but he'd already been dead for almost 20 years. This is surely Freddie Mercury. Many of these pictures just, I don't know, kind of scream Freddie Mercury to me. And you have the mustache, you have this pose here, you have well, I mean, this is, I think, quite clearly Freddie Mercury. Question 5, 198th anniversary of what country's independence? I think it's surely Brazil, because it's like blue and yellow and green with stars, which is like the Brazilian flag. So I'm going to go with that. And then question number 6 is, he has a long name. Also, I'm sad because I can't type diacritics on this computer because I don't know the codes for them. So just know that there's an accent there, and I know there's an accent there. Anyway, so that is correct because that's the Little Prince, of course. 2 is definitely what I'm enhancing because I think it's the hardest. 6 is not that easy either, but I do think it's easier. So I will go with that and submit. Burning Man is actually correct. Mary Cassatt's reunification of Germany, Freddie Mercury, Brazil, and Saint-Exupéry. That is 6 out of 6. Beautifully done there. We are cooking with gas now as we go into quiz number 5, which is a blast. I enjoyed this very much. So this is a geography quiz, but it's before and after. If you're unfamiliar with what before and after is, country whose capital is Panama City, that's Panama. Country whose capital is Bamako, that's Mali, so it's Panamali, so you combine the answers together. And for each question, the overlap is at least 2 letters. So, with that in mind, the tallest mountain in North America is Mount Denali, and after the West African country founded by freed slaves is Liberia. So this will be Denal, Liberia. Question 2, Central American capital city on the shores of a large lake. Lago Xolotlan is the Spanish name for Lake Managua. And the Mexican city that takes its name from hot springs is Aguas Calientes, so Managuas Calientes should be the answer here. Question 3. This one I found very fun. This was a very cool concept. Most populous city in a certain country on the Asian continent. Second most populous city in that same country. The only thing that works here for before and after. So I thought for a while about this. There were not a lot of things that worked, but I was basically just thinking through every country in Asia, like trying to put together the first and second largest cities. And I finally came up with this, which is the first and second largest cities in Bhutan combined, so Thimphu and Phuentsholing. So that should be the answer, I think, because I don't know what else it would be, because I've thought of everything else and nothing else works. The only other thought I had was like Sana'a and Aden in Yemen, but those only have overlap of 1 letter, so that doesn't fit the criteria. Question 4, this is like a GeoGuessr question, but the first picture was probably taken in Punta Arenas because we have a Chile pole, we have very sort of, desolate, cold-looking landscape, which fits for the far south. And then knowing that this is Punta Arenas, you can figure out the next one with guitars and stuff is probably just Nashville. Question number 5, the city that shares its name with the Russian oblast that borders Ukraine and the oblasts of Belgorod, Voronezh, Oryol, and Bryansk. That should be Kursk. And then after we have a body of water that separates Norway from Jutland that is called the Skagerrak. So Skagerrak. I think that's pretty hard because I think Skagerrak is not trivial at all. It's a strait in Europe. It's not that trivial to know the name of that, I would say. And then finally, largest lake in Kyrgyzstan is Issyk-Kul, and after the Aboriginal name for Ayers Rock is Uluru. So the toughest thing here is knowing what to enhance. 1 is easy. 6 is not easy, but a little too easy. And I think 2 is the same. 3, 4, and 5 are hard. I don't know what the hardest one is. I think, given this is a GeoGuessr server that I'm playing against, I do think some people are going to be able to come up with question 4. But that's still not easy, knowing Punta Arenas. 5 is tough, but my worry with 5 is that, there are a lot of Europeans playing this, and Europeans might be a lot more familiar with the name of that body of water than I am. Or than Americans would be, I guess. So maybe Skagerrak is more famous than I thought. And then 3 is like hard. I mean, it's quite hard, but I'm just not sure. Like, if this was a country that didn't have Street View, I'd feel better about enhancing this. But again, it feels like GeoGuessr players know Thimphu and Fuensholing, so a lot of them will probably be able to pick this up. It almost feels like the best thing to enhance is the one that GeoGuessr knowledge is not going to get you as far with. So I kind of want to go with 5 because not only is not knowing Kursk not trivial at all, but Skagerrak just feels like it's not something that helps for GeoGuessr, so it's something a lot of people might not know. But I think anything from 3, 4 to 5 is going to be a pretty decent choice. So we'll go with 5. Why can't they all be this easy? And that should be 6 out of 6. Okay, Skagerrak is misspelled, but I got it, so it's fine. There should be 1 G and 2 R's, but it doesn't matter. Isik Kuluru, Punta Arenachville, Tim Fuensholing, Managuas Calientes, and Denal, Liberia. I didn't say Mount, but there's no way I needed to say Mount. I mean, that's definitely good enough. So that is 6 out of 6, and that was a blast. I really enjoyed playing that. So thank you, presumably Looney, for writing that. If it was Benny, thank you, Benny. I just assumed, I don't know. There were some deep cuts in there that also seemed like Looney clues, so that's what I'm going off of. Anyway, quiz number 6 is, it's a literature quiz. What novella's original German opening line includes the hard-to-translate phrase Ungeheuren Ungeziefer, interpreted it as monstrous vermin, gargantuan pest, and vile insect. Probably, I think, the Metamorphosis by Kafka, because written in German and insects, I mean, he transforms into an insect, so I think it makes sense. Question 2, a sci-fi novel translated by Ken Liu, who sounds Asian, Chinese probably. I mean, there's a section about the Cultural Revolution. So I thought the 3-body problem, because this is a sci-fi novel from China and it's the only one I know, so it just seems like it's surely the best guess. This is the one on this quiz that I don't know, and it's making me sad because I've definitely heard of this person, and I honestly feel like I've heard of this person recently-ish, but I cannot remember the name. It's some Italian name. This is so annoying. Like, I've 100% heard of this person, but I can't place the name. I can't do it, which is really annoying. But I guess I will go with, I don't know, Maria. It's so annoying, but I'm not going to get it. This one. Classicist Cristiano Castelletti discovered what author had his signature in the first 4 lines of his most famous work. Astilo MV was encoded in the first and last letters of each line, such as the first line, Arma virumque cano, Troiae qui primus ab oris, which translates to I sing of arms and the man, he who came from the coast of Troy. So, I thought about this one for a bit. It's clearly written in Latin, and I was thinking of who would be writing in Latin, and I thought of Virgil, who's the guy who wrote the Aeneid, which makes perfect sense because Aeneas fought in the Trojan War, so he came from Troy. So, yeah, and that works. And also Astilo MV, I know his full name is Publius Virgilius Maro, so I thought that could be Maro Virgilius is the MV. So I think this makes perfect sense. So it should be Virgil, I think. Cool question, by the way. That's a really interesting one. I feel like there are a lot of interesting things embedded in there. Question 5, Omar Khayyam's poetry collection, the Rubaiyat, achieved fame in the West through a translation by Edward Fitzgerald. Anyway, what language was this collection originally written in? I believe the Rubaiyat is Persian. I hope it's not Arabic, but I think it's Persian, or Farsi, I guess. And then La Disparition is a book by an author and wordsmith from Paris. And the words follow a particular linguistic constraint that was difficult for him to accomplish. And Avoid is the title that I've heard for this, which I guess is an anglicization of it. But I think Georges Perec is the name of the French guy, and he famously wrote a novel that did not have the letter E in it. So, yeah, there's just like, whatever, lack of the letter E. I think this is correct, and it's a pretty interesting question. So, I don't know what to enhance here. I don't think three-body problem is that easy, but these days I think it is decently talked about. I think the hardest question is 3, but I don't know the answer. Virgil, I feel like the letter E thing is not, I don't know, is it guessable? It might be. Virgil's more you know it or you don't, but the question is, do a lot of people know this? I feel like I'm kind of biased when it comes to classics, because I think classics things are like easier than they actually are, because I just know them, but like I feel like maybe this isn't actually that easy. It doesn't mention Aeneas, but it also does say MV, so like people might see V and think Virgil. I don't know. I don't know how famous the Aeneid is among the general audience, but or maybe Persian is honestly not a bad thing to put either. I don't know. I can't decide what's the better decision here. A lot of decisions being made. Okay. I don't want to think about it, so I'm going to skip it. Let's just go to quiz 7 and deal with it later. In Greek myth, the worst punishment. Speaking of liking classics and mythology, here's some more mythology. Another fun quiz. Worst punishment in the afterlife was to be sent to Tartarus. When people in ancient Egypt were buried, they were buried with a number of objects meant to accompany them to the afterlife. The canopic jars were either empty or contained, I think, just organs, like human organs. I'm just going to say organs. I mean, surely that's enough, right? I'm pretty sure it's the organs of maybe the person who is dead, but I mean, it's definitely organs. So anyway, that should be the answer. Question 3, African American spirituals about death refer to what body of water as a sort of barrier between the worlds of the living and the dead? I'm not sure, but I think it might be the Jordan River. Because, I don't know, I feel like it's a body of water that has a lot of biblical significance. I don't know what its significance is, but this clearly, but you know, at least I didn't know coming in. But I mean, it could also be like the Dead Sea or the Red Sea or something like that. But I feel like the Jordan, a barrier, it's probably more likely a river. So I'm going to go with that. In Tibetan Buddhism, high-ranking lamas are able to choose which body to reincarnate into after death. This includes the holder of what title, the second-ranking figure in Tibetan Buddhism after the Dalai Lama. I believe it is called the Panchen Lama, who was abducted and taken to China, yes. That's pretty hard, I think. Question 5, Hinduism. A being's choices during one life determine the form they will be reincarnated as in the next life. This is referred to as samsara, I think, the cycle of samsara. So that should be the answer there. And then most atheists believe there's no afterlife. What philosopher posited that because a person stands to gain an infinite amount of good if God is real and they believe, a reasonable person should always believe in God? This is Blaise Pascal. This is referred to as Pascal's wager, which is an interesting thought experiment, to be honest. Like, yeah, it is interesting to think about it from a game theory perspective and realize, like, yeah, believing in God is pretty much just a dominant strategy. But I will continue to not believe in God anyway, so tough. Anyway, question, I think 4 or 5 maybe is the hardest here. I'm not 100% sure that I'm right on 5. I'm just decently sure. But I think I'm right on 4, and I really don't think that's very easy, so I'm going to go with 4 here. And that will be it. Oh, I missed one. No, I didn't. Okay. Oh, wait, karma? I thought... Oh. Okay, well, it's a good thing I didn't enhance that. I did not read that question closely enough. Okay, I thought samsara was the thing where you, like, you get reincarnated and it, like, keeps going until you, like, reach nirvana or whatever. It sounded like that to me, but now I feel stupid because, like, karma, I mean, yeah, like, okay. Well, that's a little unfortunate, but I mean, it's 5 anyway, so it's pretty good. And then the last thing I have to do is decide what to enhance on this quiz. Okay. Virgil, no letter E. I think I need to decide Persian. I mean, none of these are that bad, I'm sure. I need to stop thinking about this too much. Okay. Wait. Yo. Does this question not have the letter E in it? That is amazing. That is amazing. That is fantastic. Oh my god. I love that so much. I actually love that so much. Brilliant. That is brilliant. I gotta give whoever wrote that one, I gotta give credit to. That's fantastic. Okay. So I am gonna enhance. Maybe this is more. I'm going to enhance Virgil. I just got to make a decision. It contains no E. Persian, Virgil, Elena Ferrante. That is a name I've heard. I didn't realize that was a pseudonym, though. I don't know what I was thinking of, but I have heard of Elena Ferrante, but I don't think I was pulling that. And 5 out of 6 is fine. So that does it. I definitely messed up on the karma question. I should have done better with that. But at the end of the day, otherwise, I feel like that went pretty well. There was maybe 1 or 2 questions elsewhere, like the London Olympics question I probably could have gotten. I think that was doable. But the geo quiz went very well and was super fun. The literature quiz was quite fun. I should have had Elena Ferrante, but that's fine. Yeah, and all in all, to be honest, that was just a blast. So thank you very much to the quiz makers. Of course, this week I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording here so that my score shows up, and we will see how I did. But I think I'm going to be pretty close to the top this week because it felt like that went pretty well. Anyway, see you guys in a sec. All right, scores are in for the week. I finished 6th, which is a little tough because if I not said samsara instead of karma, I would have been 3rd, but, you know, whatever. It's 1 point. Doesn't really matter for overall standings anyway. It's a very solid start to the season. Honestly, I enjoyed the quizzes this week more than I usually do. I don't know. I thought the Geo quiz was super fun. It was actually Benny who wrote that, not Looney, so apologies there. But thank you, Benny, for that amazing quiz. Really enjoyed the no letter E question. Actually didn't have a letter E in it. I don't know. There were a lot of fun questions this week, fun quizzes. Maybe it was just that the subjects were a little more up my alley, but I don't know. I thought it was a blast. So thanks as always to Benny and Looney for the quizzes. I'm really glad to have this quiz league back because it's just super fun every time. So yeah, thank you too for the work you put into it. Thank you all for watching these videos and also playing along. Thanks to our 71 players in week number 1. Hope to see some of you guys back for the next week, which, yeah, it's, anyway, starting soon, but whatever. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Thank you all for watching. Welcome to the second channel, and I'll see you next time. Oh, missed the stop recording button. Okay, now actually see you next time.